8 researchers, 1 paper. Every model you use today runs on their architecture. 6 of those 8 now compete against the company that paid them. Something went wrong. June 2017. Google Brain. Attention is all you need. 7,000 citations in 2 years. The architecture that runs everything. They all left. There is a specific number buried in that departure. Hold it. I will come back to it before this ends. Google built the architecture every AI product you use runs on. Google does not lead the race it started. 6 companies. 9 years. 1 question: who actually understood what winning meant? 2017. If you were writing sequence models that year, you were about to rewrite everything. The transformer replaced recurrent nets overnight. Ashish Vaswani was the lead author. Left Google in 2022. Started Essential AI. Now builds against the company that funded his research. The architecture every model you use today runs on: multi-head attention, feed-forward layers, positional encoding. You are running Vaswani's design right now. 2018. OpenAI ships GPT-1, 117 million parameters. Nobody noticed. 2019. GPT-2, 1.5 billion parameters. OpenAI calls it too dangerous to release. Releases it anyway 6 months later. June 2020. GPT-3, 175 billion parameters. Trained on 45 terabytes of text. Nothing like it had existed. Sam Altman in 2020. GPT-3 is a surprisingly capable general-purpose reasoning engine that writes code and poetry. Most AI researchers called it a stochastic parrot. While OpenAI trained GPT-3, Google published 240 AI research papers in 2020. 0 consumer AI products shipped. You see the gap forming here. Google owns the science. OpenAI owns the deployment. This gap does not close. It widens. I sat across from a Google Brain researcher at NeurIPS 2021. She showed me Lambda on her phone. We could have shipped this 2 years ago. They chose not to. June 2021. GitHub Copilot launches in technical preview, powered by OpenAI Codex. If you were writing code that summer, you felt it immediately. 77% of early Copilot users said they spent less time on boilerplate. If you were a developer in 2021, this felt like cheating. May 2021. Dario Amodei and 10 colleagues leave OpenAI. They take the safety research team. They start Anthropic. Anthropic closes a $124 million seed in 2021. If you tracked who left OpenAI that year, you saw the safety bet forming. November 30th, 2022, ChatGPT launches. Free, browser-based, no API key, no setup, no prompting guide required. 1 million users in 5 days. Netflix took 3 years to reach that. Facebook took 10 months. ChatGPT took 5 days. 1 million. 5 days. Google had Lambda. Better trained. Larger context. You could not access it. It was not available to you or anyone. Sundar Pichai, December 2022, internal memo. Code red. The most capable AI team on Earth. Playing catch-up. You already had ChatGPT. Google was writing memos about urgency. That asymmetry does not reverse in one product cycle. February 2023. Meta releases Llama 1. Research use only. Leaked to a public file-sharing site within 72 hours. 72 hours. Jan LeCun called the leak the best thing that could have happened. Open models accelerate safety research, he argued. Most closed-source labs disagreed. March 2023. GPT-4 ships. 87th percentile on the U.S. bar exam. 90th percentile on the SAT. The capability jump shocked even OpenAI's internal teams. The MMLU Leaderboard in mid-2023. GPT-4 at 86.4. Claude 2 at 78.5. Llama 2 at 68.9. Then December changes all 3 numbers. December 2023. Google releases Gemini Ultra. Claims 90% on MMLU. claims to beat GPT-4 on 30 of 32 benchmarks. Demis Hassabis at the Gemini launch, first model to outperform human experts on MMLU with a score of 90%. 3 days later, the demo video was stitched, latency was cut, the score was real, the demo was not. This is the moment you stop trusting launch benchmarks. Not because models are bad, because the demos are theater. 2023 drops 11 significant model releases. You cannot evaluate them all. Your evaluation pipeline just became a product problem. By end of 2023, you have 6 serious competitors, each with a different definition of winning. The race has fractured. January 20th, 2025. DeepSeek R1 posts on Hugging Face. Friday night. No press release. No launch event. $6 million training cost. GPT-4 cost an estimated $100 million. DeepSeek R1 matched it on reasoning benchmarks. 1/30th. The training cost comparison. If your team had been told $6 million could match $100 million in 2024, you would not have believed it. Liang Wenfeng built DeepSeek out of a quantitative hedge fund. Hold that thought on the training methodology. The numbers in the next shot are why his approach worked at 1/30th the cost. The inference cost curve since 2022. GPT-4 input at $30 per million tokens in 2023. DeepSeek v3 in 2025 to 14 cents. 280 times cheaper. That is the per token cost reduction from GPT-4 launch to DeepSeek v3 in under 3 years. 2024. Meta ships Llama 3405B. If your team had been waiting for open source to close the gap, this was your signal. The 2025 open versus closed ceiling. Kimi K 2.6 at 58.6% on SwiBench Pro. Claude Opus 4.7 at 64.2. The gap is 5.6 points. Your cost delta, 100 times. If you are building on LLMs in 2025, open source is a first-class production choice, not a compromise, an architecture decision. 2024 and 2025 combined, over 40 significant model releases. Your evaluation stack cannot keep pace. Nobody's can. The capability radar at end of 2025. No single company dominates all 6 axes. The race is genuinely fragmented. Your vendor choice is now political. May 23, 2026. You want to know who is leading? Your answer depends entirely on which finish line you are measuring. SwiBench Pro in May 2026. Claude Opus 4.7 leads at 64.2%. GPT 5.5 close at 61.3. Kimi K 2.6 open weight. MIT licensed, third at 58.6. Humanity's last exam. Designed to stay hard for a decade. Frontier models gained 30 points on it in 12 months. The benchmarks are saturating faster than the field can write new ones. You cannot trust the public leaderboard anymore. Build your own. Accuracy by category in May 2026. Nobody dominates every cell. The best model for your specific use case is not the top overall model. Developer tool market share in May 2026. If you have not audited your AI stack recently, this is your signal to do it. The inference cost curve from 2020 to 2026, down 1,000 times. If your team killed an LLM feature on cost in 2022, reprice it today. The May 2026 numbers. OpenAI at $3 trillion valuation, losing $1.35 per dollar earned. DeepSeek v4 at 671 billion parameters, 37 billion active per token. The question was never who builds the best model. It was who deploys first at the cost you can actually pay in production. Deploy first. Here is the number I asked you to hold. 6 of 8 authors on attention is all you need. Now work at companies competing directly against Google. You can write the foundational architecture of an entire industry and still lose the product race. Google did exactly that. 5 companies. 5 bets. If you are building enterprise AI today, your vendor choice is implicitly a bet on which of these compounds. Only one of those bets compounds without a $3 trillion valuation absorbing the losses. You know which one. So does your CFO. The finish line moved. It was never best model. It was who gets deployed at the price point where developers stop questioning the bill. 4 things you can act on this week. Not predictions. Architecture decisions that are already overdue for your stack. Next episode, the O of N squared wall just cracked. A 4-person startup broke the assumption every model since 2017 ran on. That is a different kind of race. Subscribe. Your stack is next.